Would you believe that most investors lose money on their first real estate deal? But you don't have to, because we are going to be teaching you in this chapter the deadliest pitfalls that sink beginners, exactly how to avoid them. Now, let us look at the top 5. Number 1, overpay. Remember, we taught you about return on investment. You need to stick to these numbers. Most investors, when they get into real estate, they are so emotional. Sometimes when a realtor shows you a property, you fall in love with the property before you even make your calculations. By the time they tell you the price, you are already sold. You just buy using emotions, and a lot of people have lost money. Understand the return on investment. If it doesn't make sense, if it doesn't give you the numbers that you have been taught, the numbers that you have calculated, it's a bad investment. No matter how beautiful the paint is, no matter how beautiful the chandeliers look, if the return on investment doesn't make sense, it's a bad investment. Number 2, underestimating repairs. We always say you need to at least add a 20% buffer to the cost of your property on operational costs, because repairs can cost you a lot. And sometimes you have a tenant and you have all of these beautiful cabinets, which are ideal for a property that is occupied by its owner. But tenants are not like the owner. Tenants don't treat the property like the owner would treat the property. So you might find yourself paying a lot of money to repairs. Sometimes a tenant pays for this month's rental and all the money goes towards repairs. You should not underestimate the cost of repairs. And talking about bad tenants, mistake number 3, we take it lightly that people will just come as long as they can just pay a deposit and then maybe pay the first rental. We deem them as good tenants. Truth is, you need to do a background check on those tenants. Some of them are criminals. Some of them have been moving around town, leasing properties, and then at the end of the month, they don't pay, they move to the next property. You need to get references. Don't leave that to chance. Know your tenant. The same way the bank is always calling you every year to say, even though you've been banking with us for the past year, we still want to know you. Can you bring your KYC? Can you bring your ID? Can you bring your statements? Because circumstances change. People lose their jobs. People lose businesses. So maybe the tenant that you knew last year is no longer the tenant that you know today. So keep on getting those references so that you get to know them better as this progress. Mistake number 4, no legal documents. No contracts signed. You just get a deposit and someone is already in your property. What happens tomorrow if that person is not paying? What happens tomorrow if that person does not follow the rules of your property? What happens then? You can't take them to task because there was never a contract that was signed to start with. You need to make sure that you always have a lease, and a lease which has been vetted by a legal head to make sure that it protects you against any uncertainties or any misconduct that might happen in your property. Mistake number 5, DIY burnout. A lot of landlords like to do things themselves. A tenant calls, there's something wrong with the gate, you come running, you are fixing the gate. Tomorrow there's something wrong with the geyser, you come running, you are trying to fix the geyser. Imagine the amount of money that you are spending running around, checking on the tenant, fixing this and that. You need to get a property manager to do those things for you. It's cheaper for them because they're not just managing your property, they're managing a couple other properties. So they have what we call economies of scale. They take advantage of the numbers. They're using little resources to take care of bigger projects. So you need to take advantage of them. They will charge you lesser compared to the money that you use on a monthly basis, on a daily basis, running around trying to check on the tenant. It's not even safe for you. Some of you are quite fragile. Some of you cannot even defend themselves when you go to your property if you are attacked at night. So you need to outsource that service and calculate that as part of your operational costs. Deduct it from your revenue so that you find out exactly if that property makes economic sense for you. I don't know where you are, I don't know which market you operate in, whether there are a lot of criminals or whether it's very safe, whether it's a lot of students, whether it's people in the middle class, whether it's people in the high-end class. I don't know which market you are in. Now, I want to give you an action as we close this chapter. But I want you to look at the specific needs of your market and create a due diligence checklist for your market to say, if I'm going to get a tenant, if I'm buying a property, these are the things that I need to take. Do that and you might have protected yourself from making your first loss as a property investor.